Thank you for listening today on Revealing Wholeness, sponsored by Infinity Whole Health. Check out our website at infinityWholeHealth.com, where we are revealing the eternal in each individual, the infinite in the individual. The creativity is made manifest. Limitation is let go. Now, here's your host, Dr. Troy Munson.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Troy Munson on Revealing Wholeness. Today, I'm going to dip my toe into the fasting realm. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? You know, fasting, dipping your toe.
Well, the whole foot should go in, but
that's right.
It is kind of exciting because there's a lot of fasting going on, a lot of fasting diets, a lot of people saying, well, I've got to fast because I've got to lose so much weight.
True, and they want to do that. Sometimes I fast media.
Fast media.
Yeah, I don't watch any media. I'm like, I need a break. I guess you could fast anything, but we're actually going to talk about food today. And it's a big topic, and I want to explain some of my ideas because I see a lot of stuff out there, and it has been my experience that let's just jump into how many people out there. I was just doing a talk today, earlier this morning, and I asked all the group, I think there's 25 there, and I said, how many of you know somebody or you yourself do not eat breakfast on a regular occasion? And about a third of the hands went up. And I'll ask those third, how many of you, if you eat first thing in the morning, feel nauseous and sick to your stomach? And half of those hands will go up. And so a lot of people don't eat in the morning because they feel nauseous. They're already fasting, but they have no idea why. And so my concern with intermittent fasting, where people will eat like 8 hours a day, I said, well, then the most important time to eat would be the morning time. I want you to eat first thing in the morning and lunch and maybe what do they call it, a supper when it's at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon?
Well, yes, they call it supper at 3, and then dinner comes at 7 or 6 or
like
7.
That.
Sure.
Yep. And so that would be fine. And then, but people are like, I don't want to go to bed hungry. I said, well, we'll talk about those concepts, but ultimately, if you're gonna eat, I need you regulating. And here's the reason. When we stop eating first thing in the morning, we've usually already fasted 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, and our body is protein deficient. It is hungry. It's just got done healing all night, and it's protein deficient. And so if we're actually gonna do some real work, I would rather your digestive system be really primed at bedtime to have nothing in it and really hibernate. And therefore your body can really go to work, deep cleaning and deep healing when you're sleeping at night. Now, most of us, if we did that, our blood sugar is so messed up that we would probably wake up 2 or 3 or 4 times at night. So if you try this and you're like, yeah, I wake up like 3 times at night to go pee or whatever. So, well, part of that is blood sugar. If you wake up in the middle of the night and now you're up for a solid hour because you are wide awake, or 2 hours, you can't even go back to sleep, that is definitely, you just spiked blood sugar because your blood sugar got so low while you were sleeping that your brain said, hey, adrenals, I need some cortisol right now because I need you to elevate my blood sugar because I've got nothing left. And so the brain ran that cortisol and spiked it, and cortisol is a stress hormone that spikes blood sugar. So now we spike that blood sugar, and that cortisol is now in the blood for a good 2 or 3 hours. We can't go back to sleep because we're not relaxed and the brain won't turn off. And so that's why people wake up in the middle of the night and they stay awake. They're spiking cortisol because their blood sugar is a wreck. And there's ways to begin fixing that. More protein during the day, less carbohydrates, all the things that we know to do that we technically don't like doing because we love the taste of food. So let's talk about some of the other fasting mechanisms. When we don't eat first thing in the morning, we start dysregulating because our body will send us a message to eat. And if we ignore that time and time again, that dysregulates us hormonally. And so now all of a sudden, we're using sex hormones for cortisol, for blood sugar management. We're doing all kinds of things, and our body's actually not doing so well. We stop sleeping well at night. We stop repairing well. We're just not doing well. And so if we're going to do some intermittent fasting, then I would say, hey, plan on doing it 3 or 4 or 5 days, but then let's go ahead and go back to regular meals and eating sensibly. As we get better and better at diet, eating less and less grains, less and less empty calorie foods, and eat more grass-fed beef, grass-fed fat off of animals, I love butter. It's one of the things I think is a health food. As we do a lot more vegetables for the vitamin A, vitamin C content, vitamin E contents, as we're getting more nutrient-dense foods, all of a sudden we'll find ourselves eating less at those times, but still needing to eat 2 or 3 bites of food. So for those of you that feel really sick to your stomach in the morning, I will recommend that you try to do a couple of bites of protein first thing in the morning. Half a hard-boiled egg works fine for that. And you may not feel good, but after a week or so, you should notice that you're starting to re-regulate, especially if we can get you to eat a couple bites of protein at at bedtime. That will help stabilize blood sugar at night so that you wake up not feeling so nauseous. And so then all of a sudden, when you start feeling better and better and blood sugar is stabilizing, now we can say, okay, let's go ahead and fast lunch. Let's go ahead and fast dinner and go to bed. Let's see how I do with going longer between meals to see how stable I am. Because if you're still shaky and you're getting headaches and you're getting hangry, you still have blood sugar issues. And so we've got to wait a little bit longer until your body's much more stable before we can do some long-term fasting that is at least not so hard on you. And most of the clients that have done some long-term fasting, like 4 or 5 days a week, 12 days, 2 weeks. I mean, there's some people out there that do long-term fasting, just water, by the way. And, they're trying to lose weight. They've got some pretty serious health conditions. They're trying to shut down digestion, which takes so much energy out of the human body, and now give it back to the organs. They've got enough fat on their body to run energy systems, but to really kind of more hibernate and simply start healing. But what they'll notice is that their energy is much better after 3 or 4 days of fasting. They're like, man, I sleep very little and I have tons of energy. And so you should notice some things like that. Again, if you're concerned about some health challenges while fasting, definitely you should be having a health coach or a doctor that you are communicating with that is helping you through that process, that can kind of help, go through some of those landmines. And so I definitely want you to do that. And then the last fast I want to talk about is a protein fast. I've mentioned this before, but if the body doesn't seem very efficient and you're having trouble perhaps getting out of a plateau in weight, let's say, I'll have my clients do some low protein days, 15 grams of protein for 4 days straight. And it's hard to do that and still eat food. You're much better fasting a couple of meals, and 1 meal a day, you eat, some pretty good fat, like I love heavy whipping cream, a couple of vegetables that are sauteed in butter, but not a real big meal still, because vegetables have a fair amount of protein. You eat a cup of broccoli, I think it is, it's like 4 grams of protein. When you're hungry at night and you haven't eaten all day, you can plow through quite a bit of broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and that's some protein. Even though we're not going to do like fish or chicken or beef, we still want to do lower protein. So I tell people, I want you to fill up a little bit more on the heavy whipping creams, a little stevia added, a little vanilla is fine, and that's very satisfying. High fat is satisfying to us. And so we should be sated by doing something like that and be able to go to sleep well. And then the next day, again, fast, breakfast, lunch, and then again, dinner, sensible meal, and do that 4 to 5 days in a row. What we're doing with a low protein fast is we're burning up weak cells in the body, because when we don't do enough protein, we have to have protein to repair, and our body starts searching for protein. And when it doesn't get it from our diet, it's now searching for inefficient systems within the cells and the cells themselves, and it starts burning up those inefficient systems. So let's look at it this way. Let's say we have a big corporation with thousands of employees, and we're going to tighten the belt a little bit in the systems. And we look at all the systems and see what are weak systems or non-essential systems in our business. Well, let's get rid of those things. Well, those people go away too, because they're basically sitting down doing nothing, and they know they just do busy work. So we're going to get rid of the cells that are not doing anything very well. So we burn up the weak cells of the body, and within the cells themselves, they will start searching for protein within their own systems, and they'll take weak systems. Cells are not stupid. They know which systems don't work real well, and they'll basically dismantle those, burn up that area, and use those proteins for other areas of the cell function. So we do that for about 4 days, usually a couple, 3 months, so 4 days a month for 3 months in a row, and you've pretty much really turned up a notch in the efficiency of your body. And now we go back to doing some health things and working on our health even more. We now seem to get a little bit better outcome in healing wise of what our body's trying to accomplish. So those are some ideas about fasting. And again, if you have questions, concerns, all that, please email me, text me, give us a call, shoot me a thing. If you want me to talk about something specific, I would love to do that on the show. So if there's something you've been wondering about, definitely send me an email. Let's get it chatted about, and I'll tell you the whys and what fors, or at least an opinion like I did today. If I know some hardened facts, I'll put those in there too, but we can kind of talk about those things as well. Until next time, I'm Dr. Troy Munson on Revealing Wholeness.
Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach Dr. Munson at 360-893-8586 or email him at chiroman@dr.com. That's chiroman@dr.com. Check out our current workshop schedule on Facebook at Infinity Whole Health.